Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Advertising Made Easy. And I'm joined today by two much more informed and knowledgeable people than myself about the world and the power of digital marketing. And it is our Gray Media Digital Sales Manager, Stephen Rainwater, and Gray Media Senior Digital Sales Specialist, Raina Powerton. Say hello to our YouTube friends.
Hello, YouTube world. Thank you for
Hey,
having me,
YouTube.
Corey.
What I want to do first is really unpack that digital toolkit. But let's just begin with all of the things that are available. So we'll start with core. So core digital advertising. Tell us what that means and what that looks like.
So core essentially is having your ad products, whether it's banner ads, video ads, etc., in front of your news and weather properties. So core means, hey, this is news that is happening in your backyard. This is the current weather whenever you wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning or 4 a.m. in the morning, just like Corey does. Essentially, it is taking your message and associating it with a trusted brand that is local, supporting your community.
So when you talk about your core, you're talking about banner ads. But Raina, there's other elements involved like pencil ads or interactive ads, native ads. Tell us a little bit about each of those.
Yeah, so each of those elements kind of goes into a more the big boy club, right? Because you can take those elements and you can add your video to them. So it's not just a banner. It's more in your face. You cannot miss. That pencil ad is going to take over the homepage on the website, the most trafficked spot on our website. Anything like that, you're going to have that in your face element. Cannot miss.
That's the most critical part when it comes to a marketing partner is how is advertising on your core product going to benefit my core product? And those not only linking to their website, but being trackable are important. Pencil ads, like you said, take over. You've got the interactive ad, which is going to give you some more opportunities to have more specifics like links to social media or maps, stuff like that, correct? Specifically, I wanted you guys to break down native. What is native advertising?
Well, essentially, native ads are sponsored content articles. This is an advertorial, or you can almost say from the old school term, an infomercial that is essentially a story written out that is all about an advertiser and maybe a product or offer that they want to discuss. Some of the best bets that I've seen have been more listicle, basis, hey, here are 3 things you need to do before you start college. Or they can be more long form testimonial if you have a client that maybe is looking for a recruitment campaign or it's a specific type of surgery that a medical center is trying to promote more. Looking at this ad as an article based and having a great caption associated with it really draws in the audience that's already there, looking at your top news and weather stories.
Raina, a client that we work with specifically likes to keep it as fresh as possible.
Keeping the content fresh, I think, is key because that is just going to generate more interest. People aren't going to grow tired of it. They have had huge audiences in front of those ads, in front of those advertorials, and it's worked really well for them. I mean, we're talking millions of eyeballs have seen those articles.
And I think that that's surprising to people when you talk about a core. And look, not every market is going to be the same when it comes to their news and weather platforms, because there's different strengths for different stations in different markets. It's about the strategy. It is all about how you're utilizing these things in different ways that fits reasonably within your budget. And core is a great way to get some affordable advertising if you have a powerhouse website. That being said, there is also now the extension of websites for news and weather stations with apps. We happen to have an incredible number of apps that are more than just the standard news and weather app. We have niche apps, right? Tell us about that, Rainwater.
Where the niche apps came from is obviously we live in a mobile world. Our cell phone are like our second child or third child, so to speak. So when you go to sleep at night, your cell phone is right next to you. And so people are always utilizing that for more information. And a mobile app is really such a user screen friendly approach on the mobile phone to be able to search for the content that you're looking for. Our content is so diverse that we really saw that there was a thirst for an audience for specific niches. So, for instance, we have our Red Zone app that is all about high school football. And so during the high school football season, it has scores, videos, breaking news, etc. But also that extends even outside of the high school season with news that's going on within our local sports community for football. We also have our own Noticias app. That's a Spanish news and weather app that basically takes the news and weather stories that we have, translates them into Spanish, but also has producers that also cultivate and create community and culture content for the Hispanic community to really bring them back. There's so many on that, lifestyle based, weather based, that draw into more of that. So there really is something for everybody, and it's such a great home for advertisers that are looking for a specific type of audience.
It's one of those things where we've been able to capitalize on what is interesting to different demographics and different audiences, and how to best reach them for our advertising partners in unique ways. So core advertising, app advertising, very cool, right? Those are obviously things that can be affordable and can be used in different ways. One of the ways that we find is really, really powerful in any form is pre-roll. Describe pre-roll and how it's best used.
Yes, I love pre-roll. It is a 15-second non-skippable commercial that runs before our news or weather videos that are on our apps, our pages, our .com, our news app, weather app, all across our sites. What's great about it is that client can take that 15-second commercial and run it and reach our audience with a lot of frequency. It is also clickable and able to send audiences over to their website directly.
Yeah, it's really cool. The fact that it's non-skippable gives you that authority as an advertiser to go, I know my story is going to be told. It's just going to be told in a smaller form. What I've been continuing to preach is getting your mind around what you're going to do for the year and how you're going to take and pluck these different medias and make them a strength. Now you've got the world of television to specific people when you talk about streaming. Describe to us, how would you best put streaming in front of a client and go, this is why we're going to do this, and here's why it's going to be effective?
Well, you can just kind of look at our world. People want their information and content now. And so it's really being able to take elements that could be kind of similar to cable, so to speak, but it's on steroids, because essentially it's hyper targeted specifically to the audience that you want to get it in front of. And because the way that the ads are inserted, very similar to pre-roll, it's a guaranteed view for a client. Or for somebody to see.
Do you feel like audiences have become more inclined to just stay with a streaming ad because it has the countdown clock on it?
I think seeing the countdown clock in front of you gives that warm and fuzzy feeling of, oh, hey, this is going to be over, soon. And so typically when it comes down to targeted OTT streaming, these breaks can vary between 30 seconds to maybe 90 seconds at the most. Having those shorter instances on it really help on that audience engagement, because it's at a point where the viewer is able to see it firsthand from start to finish, of more of a certainty there.
One of the things I love about streaming is that we don't have to guess at it. We can run an estimate beforehand, so we know what your target audience is, how many available impressions there are within that target in that geographic area, and we know before we even start the campaign if that is too narrow or if we need to broaden it out. But what's neat about it is that we are following that user. So certain times of the year, there may be specific channels that show up in the list that we've served ads on, and then it changes because we are following that specific demographic wherever they go. So we don't have to guess what channels to be on or what time periods to be on even. We're just setting it and going after that audience.
It's very cool. One of the things that I've talked about in previous videos is The smaller the budget, the more specific the strategy. But in any case, narrow your focus. When you are targeting those demographics, what seems like target as many as possible sounds great, but in reality, the less targeting, the better, right?
It depends on the category and the business, but in general, yes, because you don't want to exclude anybody. You don't want to leave a potential customer on the table.
Exactly. If you drill it down so much, especially depending on what area that like you're targeting, you could almost just dilute it to a point that, as Raina said, yeah, you could miss out on somebody that's a prospective buyer. Typically we always like to recommend target with maybe one segment. So think of like the most important thing and then just kind of go from there.
Streaming is a fantastic tool that we have. We've talked about core and apps. One of the other tools that is very useful that we also do some data gathering on is email targeting. And I want to talk about how this has replaced the world of direct mail in not only the cost, but the effectiveness.
What is great about targeted email is the fact that it is multiple touch points with the consumer, with who you're trying to reach. And again, like we do with streaming, we're going to run an estimate beforehand so we know that target audience and what it looks like, how many available impressions, how many available emails are out there to reach. And I love that it's got a high click-through rate. I love that it's got a high open rate, all of the trackable metrics. It's just, you can't go wrong with something like that because you know who you're reaching. You know that they're seeing the email. You know if they're opening it or not.
100%. It's really a unique tool. And that's what I think is cool about all of these things that you guys are educating us on, is how they can work effectively in a larger scope plan, piece by piece by piece. You can start really small and you can engage to a very large way, all after the same demo using just tidbits of strategy. So we can go down a rabbit hole on this next subject, but we're going to keep it brief. And that is SEO, SEM, pros, cons. It is an animal all to itself.
You have to kind of put it down like this. There is such a thing as the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. So a lot of times SEO, it has its place within the digital marketing universe, but essentially you have to realize a couple of things. A lot of times there is credit given to SEO due because it has last click attribution. When people made the choice to convert, they clicked on the ad, so to speak. And when there were all these other elements that went into play, targeted video, broadcast TV, OTT, core banners, etc., that give personality and give a glimpse of what this client is all about and what they provide instead of just words. Because that's the other thing with SEO. Essentially, it is words on it. And what you always have to remember is when we're all on the internet, we spend very little time Google searching. We spend a lot of time browsing about the World Wide Web, checking our sports scores, looking to book that next travel trip, etc., where a client's message can get in front of in such a more highly impactful visual way. So it does have a place, but I feel like somewhere in all the minutia of the digital world, it's important because essentially it's that last click attribution.
But you did bring up a good point just there, which is the separation of words and video. And what do we know most about digital success is it comes from what?
Really, digital has become a video world. I mean, obviously banners have that place, but video captures, immerses, gets you excited about whatever the client is offering. And so you really kind of just have to think about that because, I mean, think about us in our day-to-day lives. Are we going to be probably more interested in a video ad or a banner ad? More than likely, it's probably going to be a video ad.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but I think a video is worth 1,000,000 words because you get the full story, right? It tells the advertiser's full story. It gets that emotional connection. Video just does a great job doing that.
Yeah, I agree. When we start to build the roadmap to success for each of our clients, we know that we're going to drive with video and this other stuff is going to serve as a complement. But the two of them together, it's a 1-2 punch.
What I think is super important is having some kind of call to action, having your logo, having a story to tell that you're connecting, not just blasting everything out there, but having a really distinct message. That message is crucial to your video.
but you have to fire on all cylinders, have the right creative, the right message, and then the right tactic depending on what your needs are. But with digital, there's so many options. The sky is really the limit for the future.
As always, we want to help as many marketing partners as possible by taking advantage of these tools that are changing on a regular basis. And that is one thing that I will leave everyone with, is the ongoing education for us is just as critical as it is for the advertisers. We are learning this too. It's coming fast.
Don't be scared of digital. It's actually, once you jump into it, it's a lot of fun. And, once you get the hang of it, you can't get enough of it. It's actually very, very addicting.
Absolutely. And find a budget that you feel comfortable with committing to long term. Don't expect it to be overnight. Do something that you can commit to long term.
It is about playing the long game. This is the medicine. It is not the cure, and you have to treat your business at all times. So thank you guys both again. I'm going to wrap up by begging everybody to subscribe and like the channel and share the video. And thank you so much again. And I will see you guys in the trenches.
Thanks.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.